and some of the government farms have been fully absorbed. I mean, they could deploy them to some of the...
Let me jump in for a minute, if you will, because, I mean, there have been several reports, and I imagine you will have seen some of them, of several people who lost their jobs, and which many reckon far outweigh the intervention at the moment. What specific policies are there? Because we've seen manufacturers, we've seen several sectors laying off, shutting down. In addition to this intervention that you speak about, are there policies out there to ensure that no more of such companies are shutting down shop, but rather they take on a lot more people, and specifically tying it to them earning forex, as you alluded to?
Okay, so thank you for that question, and I think you're taking me a little above beyond my remit. And what I will say, I'm sure we saw the press release by the Special Advisor on Economy yesterday. So I would draw Nigeria's attention to that press release, and I'm sure he would also be on air within the shortest time and in a few days to also discuss the outlook from MBS. So but I will say this, we are mindful, we do know. We know what's happening. I get bombarded by the fact that you're talking job creation when we're having job losses. So we are mindful. We know what's happening there. But yes, in terms of your question about policies, I'm sure you also know that an economic recovery plan, development plan, is actually being put together now, which is really a compilation of all the various other policies that have been released in the course of the year, whether it's a job creation strategy or the agri-revolutionary plan or the mines and steel roadmap. So all these are being put together to come up with what you call the economic recovery plan. I'm sure he's listening to me and watching me, and he will be invited to discuss more about the specifics of the economy. But to speak to, so that's it on that. But in terms of what we are doing, again, this is one of those steps that have also been referenced even in the strategic implementation plan of the Budget and Planning Ministry as one of those reflating steps of the economy. I mean, think about it. 200,000 now have been mobilized. December 1, they officially get into earning payroll. And think about what will happen just around the Yuletide season, when they would get their first paycheck. So clearly this will go around a lot of homes, and there's something this will do, even if it's just that extra Indomie the guy is able to buy, or the extra chicken is able to bring home. So it will definitely have a plus. I'm eagerly waiting to see the reports of...
The non-graduate component, how are you going to get across to them such that they get jobs as well?
So yes, so that bit, we haven't rolled that out as we speak, for reasons also of the fact that we're still preparing. The procurement process is ongoing. So for some of the components, we're going to work with state actors. Let's look at vocational, for example. There are some government-owned training centers that we can use, but the procurement of tools and consumables are still ongoing as we speak. As if you're following, you will know that an advert was out last month. It closed last week, Tuesday, so the review is going on now. So we're going through a procurement process, basically. So what I would say for all young Nigerians who are there, who have already started asking the question, they should watch this space. Very, very early in the new year, we will come to them. So we're just really fine-tuning procurement.
There are accusations that the mode that you've chosen to employ these people it has not been very transparent, and that it has also cut out quite a number of people. You're laughing. It's cut out, you don't think that is a viable accusation?
No. I laughed because I've heard that often and often and often, and many times we've even some who accuse, we've proven them wrong. So I think
how are you able to prove them wrong?
So for example, I mean, we've seen accusations where people say, oh, that we were the ones that actually imputed the names ourselves. Nobody went to the portal and things like that. And those kind of things, all we do is just take a sample and said, okay, these are numbers, call any one of them. and just ask them. Just do what you call mystery shopper. And what was interesting is, I mean, everyone that was called, confirmed that they did it in their own various local governments.
How many applications did you get?
So we got, in closing, we got a bit about around 1 million when the portal closed August 31st. However, after the cleaning, in terms of, there were quite a significant number of incomplete applications, duplicates. The final number came to 729,151 for this first phase. And of that number, for those who are the graduate programs now, is about 350,000. It's from those 350,000 that we have picked the 200,000 now that are going out. So another thing to say too. Okay, you were going to say.
We have to go on break right now, I'm afraid. And when we come back, you'll be able to complete your thoughts on that question. Or we'll take a momentum and right back to join us again.
Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. It's our concluding moment with Afolabi Imokade. Let me just ask this, see if we've got time to respond to that. We know that the government some time ago talked about bailout for states, and now you're talking about program, and the states again will be the ones to do some of this placing, assuming FG will also foot the bill. But again, we also speak about the private sector. There are those who ask, I don't know the brief you're working with, they do ask that, look, has the federal government considered bailing out or channeling some of these funds to bail out these ailing industries and then give them some of these persons to also take in so that you could grow and strengthen the private sector?
Thank you for this question. Very valid question. Yes, I am aware that, there's some intervention funds for sector-based intervention funds. But I would defer again, that question I would defer to my colleague, the Special Advisor on Economy, to deal on that. Very valid question, and I take your point on it. But I also know that the CBN, for example, you know about the Anchor Borrowers Fund, which is a CBN intervention for the agri sector, and I think there's the same for aviation and all that. So clearly, with the private sector as well as a sector, they have some of these intervention funds. Now, but also, the thing about this is, like you rightly said, the states are active participants and partners in this program, but let's understand that they are not footing the bill, and we are not paying nobody, no state, no agency. We are paying directly to the beneficiary. So one of the things we did, and so this is a good medium to answer that many questions during the application process, when a lot of our beneficiaries or a lot of our youth were asking why were we asking for their BVN. The reason now it's now clear. It was for two reasons. One was for
let's just quickly squeeze this in. Yeah. Paul Abang wants to know if you considered how the volunteers will survive on 30,000 naira because they'll be paying rent and transport fare.
No. Okay. So BVN was to validate, and then the other bit was so that we could pay directly to their accounts. As we speak now, with the mobilization, with the SMSs they are getting, they are now being invited to go back to the portal where profiles have been established for each and every one of these beneficiary, and then they will put in their account numbers for direct payment to them. Now, to speak to that question, that's not true, because again, remember, we are not mobilizing people outside of their residence. So we are mobilizing them within their local government of residence. What it therefore means, is that if, right now you don't have to say you are moving somewhere to go pay rent. What we have also even advised the focal persons in each state is, again, to ensure that they are mobilized within proximity of their community. And if we know the way Nigeria is, if I take my own father's village, Sabungidara, for example, any part of the village you live in, and you are mobilized to Holy Trinity or any of the schools in that area, you are within a walking distance. So you really don't have much of a transportation, and even if you do, minimal. But clearly, the issue of rent and all that is out of the question because we are mobilizing them within their local government of residence. Yeah.
Well, we're totally out of time now. We must thank you, Afolabi Imokwede, who is a special assistant to the president, senior special assistant to the president on job creation, for coming on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you.
But that's where we'll wrap it up. Just before let's quickly go to Lagos now, just before I conclude here.
Well, yes, indeed, because I have a lot of people still asking about, well, not the jobs now. There are too many questions on that jobs, but they like to remind the authorities about Lautech. They want something to be done. They're still at home. Well, we're drawing the curtains today. We thank you all for watching. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Now that the Southwest governors are meeting in Ibadan, I'm hoping that they'll take a look at that, since both governors will be there, and make sure that these lights get back to classrooms. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
And I'm Maokwe Ogun. Thank you.
Ondo State is on the march again to elect another governor.